Hey guys, welcome back to the Blue Podcast. This is the Gradient Show with me, Tom, and Ben. How are you doing today, mate?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, good to hear. So today we're coming with the Obi-Wan Kenobi Series review. Just a little bit of discussion from Ben and I. As you'll see, Mac still isn't here. He's still in America at the moment. He won't be back for a while. So I guess you're just going to have to suffer from me and Ben for a while. But that is absolutely fine because we've got Kenobi today and then we'll be doing Miss Marvel in a couple of weeks' time when that comes out. This final episode comes out and then we'll do a series review for that. Obviously, this is going to be a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? It's been out. This is the 6th and final episode. So you should have had plenty of time to watch all the others. And yeah, if you're watching this video now and you haven't seen episode 6, go and watch episode 6 now and then come back to this. But yeah, I think we'll sort of dive straight in with Ben, your first impressions of, I'd say, the series as a whole and also episode 6.
I liked it. I do get sort of some people saying like sort of the early episodes, it kind of, didn't really go anywhere. I do get that. But I still liked it. But yeah, these last 2 episodes especially were really good. And I think, like you were saying, I think episode 3 when they fought for the first time was really good as well. But yeah, these last 2 episodes have been particularly good.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that. I know that it got sort of quite a lot of backlash for the first 2 episodes, having a very sort of slow pace. Obviously, there wasn't much action at all, but I think that's just because the scope of this series is almost like a film. So obviously, the first 2 episodes are sort of like the first act. They've just got to set it up. We've not seen Obi-Wan Kenobi in a very long time. Just got to establish where he is, what his mindset is, and then sort of also set up the Inquisitors. I mean, we've seen the Inquisitors in Star Wars Rebels, so for anyone that has seen Star Wars Rebels, you'll be familiar with the Inquisitors. But for those that haven't, I guess they've sort of got to set up the backstory. Where do they come from? Obviously, develop a bit of conflict between Reva and the Grand Inquisitor, because obviously that pays off later in the series. So again, yeah, that's why it probably starts off a bit slow. But yeah, you're right. I think we mentioned before the show started that episode 3. So for me, my favorites were episode 3, 5, and 6. Obviously, in episode 3, we get Kenobi and Vader meet again, which is obviously fantastic, and it's like a monumental occasion. And then episode 5, we get sort of Reva versus Vader, where Vader can sort of just showcase how powerful he is. And then in the final episode today, we got, spoilers, Kenobi versus Vader, the rematch where Kenobi dominated him, sort of got in touch with the Force again and showed that he is still the master. I think, again, it was important to do that to not break canon, because obviously we see in A New Hope, Vader does the classic line of, when I left you, I was a learner, and I'm the master. And yeah, so it was important not to break canon for that. But yeah, so in particular for you, any standout moments throughout the series that you just thought, that's fantastic?
I did like the sort of the flashbacks in episode 5. I thought that was really good. And I know people wanted more flashbacks, but I don't know. Like if you like, I mean, maybe there could have been more, but like it could have got to the point where it's just like every episode there's flashbacks, and then people got bored of it. So like, I mean, yeah, there could have been more, but like I still liked like what we got with the flashbacks. I think it was good. Yeah, maybe say that's my favorite moment. I mean, obviously the fights were good, but yeah, I think the flashback.
Yeah, I agree. The flashbacks tied in with that episode very well, in particular, because obviously you get Kenobi versus Vader from a distance, but then it flashes back to Kenobi teaching Anakin about patience and like not to go all out attack all the time. And obviously Kenobi still teaches him another lesson in the episode itself. And yeah, a lot of people were calling for those flashbacks for a very long time, because obviously everyone sort of wants to see live action during the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And that is kind of what we got, maybe more erring on the side of younger Anakin Skywalker, because obviously he's still got the Padawan sort of ponytail. But yeah, I still saw a lot of backlash from that episode, because obviously Hayden Christensen's in his 40s now, and he's playing like a teenage or young early 20s version of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind that at all. Like, it wasn't off-putting. I've seen a version where somebody's like digitally like downgraded his age so he looks more like a teenager. But I think if you're going to bring Hayden Christensen back for a series, you don't bring him back and then sort of like digitally downgrade his age. Like, you just got to show us Hayden Christensen, because we want to see him as Anakin Skywalker. I think the fan base wanted that, and that's what we got. So yeah, you're spot on. That was one of my favorite moments too. I have to mention the whole Reva situation though, because obviously there was a lot of backlash towards the actor at the beginning of the series. A lot of people unhappy with maybe her acting performances. I remember speaking to a couple of my housemates from university, like after the first couple of episodes of it, and they'd said they were quite disappointed with her acting. But for me, I didn't have any problem with it at all. I thought the actress, I don't know her name, but delivered like a fantastic performance. I think her turn to sort of go against Vader was almost predictable, for me at least. But I think the actress did a fantastic job. And is there a future for her in the Star Wars universe? Because obviously it leaves it quite open-ended at the end of the series. And would you be interested in watching sort of a project with her at the lead?
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm the same as you. I really didn't care. Like, I didn't mind it. Like, didn't care at all. Like, yeah. And then in terms of, I mean, I think she probably will turn up in something else in the future. That's probably will happen. In terms of seeing her like be head of series, I don't know, because we don't know her enough really. But like maybe further along down the line when she's been in other things and we know her a bit better, or a bit more, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I do definitely think she will turn up in something. I don't know what that will be, but yeah, no, I don't know. Like I say, we probably need to get to know her better first before her own series if she's to get that. But
yeah, well, I don't know if you played or heard of the game Jedi Fallen Order. A couple of years ago. Yeah, I thought you'd be familiar. And so the actor that plays Cal Kestis, I think he's in Gotham, the TV show. He played the Joker in the Gotham TV show. So he is a very good actor, more than just like sort of a video game actor. And there's rumors of a Jedi Fallen Order sort of TV series to follow on from the like Jedi Fallen Order 2, which is coming out soon.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, because I think that's set around a similar time period in the canon to when Kenobi set around.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there will be an opportunity for her to maybe return as like a secondary character in that, maybe sort of battling with the dark side, light side of her, whilst also having the focus on Cal Kestis and not her, because I think that would be a great way to continue building her character. As you mentioned, you just want to see a bit more of her before she's a reliable main character. Which, I absolutely get. Another thing we can touch on is the overall storyline. So the sort of Leia being kidnapped and then Obi-Wan chasing after Leia. As far as I know, we're going into the series having seen the trailers and all the like pre-footage, that sort of thing. I didn't know that was going to be the storyline at all. That was quite a shock for me. Very cleverly done, because obviously Obi-Wan Kenobi, to leave him from the end of Revenge of the Sith to the beginning of A New Hope, as far as we were aware, he sort of was in isolation on Tatooine the entire time. So what can he do? Where can he go that's not going to affect Luke Skywalker on Tatooine? And I guess chasing Leia around the galaxy is a very good way to do that. So I just wanted to know your thoughts on the storyline itself. Was it good? Was it anything that you would have wanted to see, or you think even for season 2, if they do a season 2, anywhere they can expand on that?
Yeah, no, like you say, I didn't expect Leia to be in it. I remember seeing something before the series came out where I think the ending leaked, and it leaks that Kenobi was not going to be on Tatooine. And people were like, "Well, Kenobi wouldn't leave Tatooine. Like, he wouldn't be that irresponsible." And then it came out obviously that he was chasing after Leia. And then it was like, oh yeah, well that makes perfect sense. Like, she would be the only reason he would leave Tatooine. It's like, yeah, I think that like you say, it was clever, because it would be the only reason he would leave is to chase after her. because anything else, it would have been a bit like, mm,
Is it
like
as important as Luke Skywalker? Probably not.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
guess Leia
But
is. Yeah.
Leia is just as important, so it makes sense. So yeah, no, that's good.
And anything for season 2? If you would, if because I just saw rumors. I think Deborah Chow said, the director. She said that there's definitely room to do a season 2 if if there was an opportunity where the fans really, obviously the fans want to see more Kenobi,
Yeah,
but if they were given the sort of the green light, Deborah Chow, the director, said that there's definitely room to go and there's definitely storylines that they can follow. Any thoughts on that? Would you think that, obviously you'd want to see a season 2, but do you think it is in danger of breaking the canon and going too far if
yeah. I don't. Yeah, it's a weird one because I don't really know what else they could do or where else they could go because they've kind of done. They meet again, and then they go and do their own thing again. Like I don't know what else they could do. Like would they meet again and then go and do their own thing again? Like they kind of already done that, so there must have to be something else completely. Like he's helping out someone else, and like it wouldn't like I mean Vader might be in it, but like they've kind of done that, so like it wouldn't be anything new.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't know. Like yeah, like I say, like maybe it's something else, or you know, but like yeah,
No, that was my thought. That was my thoughts too, because like he's done the whole chasing MacGuffin around the galaxy. Obviously, the MacGuffin being Leia, and then Vader's chased him, sent the Inquisitors after him. They've had 2 confrontations. They've done the whole okay. Kenobi showed that he's still in control a little bit. They've gone back to their own places, and it's perfectly set up for A New Hope,
yeah,
with the canon anyway. But again, going into the series, I was thinking the exact same thing in terms of he's perfectly set for A New Hope. Where do they go from here? And to me,
yeah,
the storyline of something going wrong with Leia hadn't really occurred to me. So obviously, if I'd thought about it for long enough and I was trying to figure out the plot, Leia would have probably come into it eventually. But just sitting here now, there's so many storylines that I guess they could follow that we're just not thinking about at the moment.
yeah. I get that. I get that. But
Yeah,
it just seems like yeah, I don't know, like just like I don't know, maybe it gets to the point where they're milking it a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I'd say, like I mean, like you say, there probably are storylines that they could follow, like where we could see a bit more of him and Qui Gon, or a bit more, something with Reva or whatever. But like I don't know, like I mean, like it would have to be something really sort of. It would have to be fresh, and like I mean, I wouldn't say original because it's using characters that already been done, but like it would have to be something completely different to what they've done in this series because, like we said, they've done that. Like they've done this sort of they meet up, they go and do their own thing, like in gallivanting, around the galaxy, like so it's like yeah, chasing after Leia. So I don't know.
No, I know what you mean, and the thing is, one of the biggest selling points of the Kenobi series was the fact that we were going to get Darth Vader and Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. But
Yeah,
if they were to do a Kenobi series too, they'd struggle, like you said, to find originality by reusing Darth Vader. Like
yeah,
how does Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi? How do you create a different story that's not just them, Darth Vader chasing Obi-Wan? They have a confrontation, they both survive, and then they go off their separate ways. How many times can you realistically do that before it gets, like you say, like it's just milking it at that point?
yeah,
Because me going into it, I never, like, season 2 might not even happen, but just knowing that Deborah Chow's spoken about her potentially wanting to do a season 2,
yeah,
that's where we sort of start to go, okay, let's think about what they could actually do. And for me, Kenobi was always going to be a 1 season series. That was
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like it was almost just a series is better in this instance than the film because they'll have more time to explore Kenobi's character. Because for
yeah,
me, they could have made this film easily. Like
yeah,
Ewan McGregor's a top actor. Hayden Christensen's obviously a top actor. Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is one of the biggest things that would have happened. This, if they'd done a film like this would have been bigger than any of the sequels that had come out.
mm,
So it was a conscious decision to do it as a TV series to sort of deep dive into Kenobi's character, which I feel like they did very well. I mean, we've
yeah,
seen earlier on in the series him talking about having a brother talking about his parents, that sort of thing. We got sort of like a better understanding into his relationship with Padme and Anakin in terms of how he's speaking to Leia about those two. So yeah, I think we wouldn't necessarily have got that any other way than doing a short series. And yeah, like you mentioned, milking it for a season 2 might not be the best way to go unless they can find something very original to go off. Yeah, I think we'll also touch on, so obviously there's a lot of fight scenes in this series, probably the right amount of fight scenes in terms of we don't need to go like just watch lightsaber battle after lightsaber battle. All the fights were meaningful. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader fought twice, and both fights like sort of rang true to their characters. I was just wondering, out of, let's say, the three major fight scenes, Obi-Wan Kenobi versus Darth Vader, fight 1, Reva versus Darth Vader, and then Kenobi versus Vader 2. Which one was your favorite, and what in particular did you like about sort of just the fighting style? Because I know the sequels, there's a lot of disappointment amongst the fan base about the fighting being just hitting, just standing back, and then just hitting again. But in this, for me, they took an interesting approach using the Force, and I just wanted to know your thoughts on it.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, the obviously the first Vader Kenobi fight was obviously Kenobi was like just all over the place because obviously is out of practice, didn't have the confidence and stuff. So that was cool for obviously for that side of it. And then obviously the Vader Reva fight. Vader's just like, this isn't worth my time, basically. Like, he doesn't even use his own lightsaber, he's using the Force half the time. Like, so that was cool for that. And then obviously the second Vader Kenobi fight will be like the one that people remember because it was like the fight of the series. Like, that was what it was building up to. And there's lots of cool moments in it. Like, I think we said before we started recording, like the bit where Kenobi cuts his mask, that's taken directly from Rebels, where Ahsoka does it to him in the animated series. So that was obviously cool to see live action. Obviously, I mean, you get a bit more of the emotion of it because obviously you see, like, Obi-Wan sees Anakin, like,
you can hear him too. You really
in the flesh, yeah, exactly. So it has that extra emotional thing, like, and yeah, and obviously even like the fight in general is obviously a lot more, like you say, there's a lot more choreography of it is a lot more skilled and stuff, so that's cool and stuff like that. So yeah, yeah. I mean, the third fight is gonna be the one, like, the second Vader Kenobi fight is the one people remember, but the other two obviously had the things that were cool and with that as well in those ones. But yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree. The one for me that was sort of the most shocking, or where I was like the most excited about it, was, I think, the Reva versus Darth Vader fight, purely because we've seen she's an Inquisitor, she's been chasing after Leia and Kenobi, she's been portrayed as this real threat throughout the first sort of 3-4 episodes of the series. And Kenobi's like really worried for his safety, really worried for Leia's safety when Reva's chasing after them. And yeah, like you touched on, Darth Vader doesn't even draw his own lightsaber. Like, he's known that Reva was the youngling the entire time. He's just used her for what he can get out of her without ever, with the knowledge that he's never really been in danger. Like, he can just sidestep her, use the Force to push her lightsaber away. It's a real showcase of his power, and it sort of builds on, like you said in the first fight, where he sort of just destroyed Obi-Wan. It's just showcasing his power, and then it's like, okay, how can Kenobi actually get out of this situation? Because we knew that there was going to be sort of like a episode 3 Revenge of the Sith. We knew there was going to be that style rematch where they would really go toe to toe and they'd both be almost at their best.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing Kenobi come back from that, and yeah, I think you mentioned the scene with cutting his mask in Rebels, and the one for me, the coolest moment from that fight scene was definitely him with all the sort of big boulders behind him, just like launching them at Vader. That was incredible to watch, especially because Vader had done sort of like a similar thing to him, where it pushed him down onto the ground with and then seeing Kenobi with the boulders behind him, just launching them at Vader was so cool, because I've not seen anything like that in Star Wars. Correct me if I'm wrong, but off the top of my head, I can't think of a scene where Jedi has sort of stood there like hurtling weapons, like obviously Darth Vader in this instance, but that was so unique to me to see for the first time. So that was so cool. And I think you touched on as well with when Darth Vader's mask gets split and you can see Hayden Christensen, and it sort of dawns on Obi-Wan Kenobi that like Anakin Skywalker's still in there, and they have that like sort of emotional moment. Obviously Ewan McGregor's acting is fantastic, has been throughout the series, but that moment in particular when he is apologizing to Anakin / Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader's going, well, he was the one that killed Anakin Skywalker. It's it's a really great moment, and almost like very similar to Revenge of the Sith in terms of like Obi-Wan's apologizing for failing Anakin, and it was like sort of a callback. Obi-Wan's doing that again because he can see his old Padawan still in there. So that was that was very, very cool, I thought.
It was. And then right at the end of the fight, it sort of ties into A New Hope. This is what I mean. It ties in really nicely. It ties into A New Hope because he calls him Darth at the end, and that's what he calls him in A New Hope. So it ties in nicely. So it's like if they do season 2, I don't know what they'll do. Like maybe it won't involve Vader at all. It'll just be completely different. I don't know. Like you would think that would be what they would have to do, but like you say, there's be many storylines that they can do that we've not thought of. But it did tie in really nicely at the end.
I think one of the moments that I think we both sort of caught it almost instantly was like right at the end when obviously Obi-Wan's going to meet Luke for the first time, which actually wasn't something I thought I'd be interested in watching. Like you never think, because it's always just assumed that like Ben Kenobi's been sort of a mentor for Luke his entire life, but them sort of meeting for the first time is very, very cool, because it's like, okay, this character is going to teach Luke enough to sort of survive Vader in A New Hope is meeting. It's a very iconic meeting, and for Obi-Wan to use the line, well, hello there, that's obviously like been memed a lot from Revenge of the Sith when he does the same to General Grievous. I thought just perfect, because there was a moment earlier on, I think it was episode 2, I think, of the series, where he just says hello to or say hello, and then he goes hello, and then everyone's like, well, just say hello there, and he doesn't. I thought that was very cool that they then did that.
They definitely chose the right moment for him to say it, I think.
Absolutely. Right at the end, just perfect, especially to Luke Skywalker as well. I thought, that was very good. And I think it would be remiss for us not to touch on the cameos, because there was a lot of speculation. Obviously, everybody kind of hoped and thought we were going to get Qui Gon Jinn. Obviously, Liam Neeson returning to play him as a Force ghost. But I remember in an interview, the actor, I can't remember the actor's name that plays the Emperor, but he said that it was like, don't expect to see him. Obviously, he's going to say that, and then end up, and that was very cool, because I wasn't actually expecting that one. Just want to know your thoughts on the cameos, and if you were kind of expecting either or both of them to turn up at some point.
I mean, you're always thinking Qui-Gon was like. At the start, you thought Qui-Gon was going to turn up because he's always talking to him. But then the longer it went off, it was kind of like, it's not going to happen. This is it. Like they're just going to kind of make it out like he's just talking to him, like sort of metaphorically sort of thing. But then obviously it was nice to see him. And I'm sure people would have liked to see more of him. But I mean, it was nice to see him just a little bit anyway. But it's stuff like that obviously makes you think, maybe they're going to use it a bit more if they do a second series or something like that. I don't know. And then obviously, like you say, with Palpatine being in it briefly, or the Emperor or whatever. Like that was, it's not something not something that I expected. But obviously, when you think about it, obviously he's talking to him all the time, so it's like, not that obviously this, like you said, but not expect to see me, but like it makes sense like for him to be there, and it was cool to see him. So yeah, no, I mean, obviously it was brief, but it was obviously nice to see him.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think as well in a series, if you're going to do it this big with this many sort of callbacks, and you've got Obi-Wan Kenobi and you've got Darth Vader, it's not too much to ask to just chuck in the Emperor, especially because obviously he was in oh my god, The Rise of Skywalker. That's it. He was in that, and that was filmed. Not that was like 2 years ago, but it means he's obviously willing to come back and sort of do the role. And obviously in a cameo position, it would not have taken a lot for him to just record those lines. So yeah, that was very cool to see. But with Qui Gon, I think in particular, people are so excited to see him because it's literally been over 20 years since we've seen that character, and that was like a Liam Neeson plays a Jedi. Like that was in itself kind of a crazy moment. And see him return was fantastic. It was very similar to, I think we touched on Star Wars Rebels before, but yeah, it was very similar to Star Wars Rebels because if I'm not mistaken, he shows up as a Force ghost in Star Wars Rebels, and or am I wrong? Am I wrong on that one? Do you
I
want?
can't remember. I can't remember. I mean, you might. I can't. Yeah, I can't remember now.
I
But you
don't
might.
know why, but I've just got that feeling. Maybe I am wrong, but I remember we saw a couple of Force Ghosts in Star Wars Rebels, especially when we had the Obi-Wan scenes. Obviously, Obi-Wan with Darth Maul,
Yeah.
that fight was insane. And we obviously get Qui-Gon. I think we get, maybe we don't, but it was just like a nice little nod to, yeah, Obi-Wan's going to continue to develop this relationship, and that was actually the first time live action we've seen Qui-Gon as a Force Ghost because he doesn't show up in the originals, and he
Yeah.
doesn't show up in the sequels. So yeah, it was a very sort of monumental moment because we know that Obi-Wan learns to become a Force ghost through Qui-Gon. So yeah, actually seeing Qui-Gon, Liam Neeson as well as the Force ghost was pretty special. But yeah, I don't think there was anything really else that I wanted to touch on. Do you have any sort of just like final thoughts, anything last to say about the series?
Not that I can think of.
Overall feeling, is it better than you expected? About how you expected?
Um, about how expected. I thought it was decent. Yeah.
Yeah, because there was a lot of hype for it going into it, obviously, which
Yeah.
generally leads to people getting too excited and then being underwhelmed. But
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think that was probably definitely the case for the first two episodes.
Yeah.
But I think they stuck the landing at the end, and episode 5 and 6 were just so good that it kind of just carried the rest of the season. I don't know what your thoughts about that
Yeah.
are.
You know. Yeah. I think that's right. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right there. Yeah. No. Like say. Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was decent. Like obviously, I mean, like you say, a lot of people like obviously wanted other, some other things, but it could have been like as with everything, it could have been better in some points, but it could have been a lot worse in other points. So, like I liked it. I thought it was decent, really.
Yeah, I know what you mean with like potentially we could have got other Jedi, like surviving Jedi. Any like we could have got a lot of stuff, but we also wouldn't have got a lot of stuff if it weren't for like just it being a good series as a whole. Like if we'd come out of this with no Qui-Gon, that would have been disappointing. Emperor was just like icing on the cake, really, and we got three incredible fight scenes between sort of the three main characters of the series, which you can't really ask for much more than that, especially when they've got to have it with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan surviving at the end, basically
Yeah,
being in the same position as they were in Revenge of the Sith. So
yeah,
I think they did a very good job with the parameters that they were set, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyable series in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Yeah, very good. But yeah, if you don't have any more thoughts on it, Ben, I think we'll wrap it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe if you want. I think last time I set the target of 1,000 subscribers before Macca's get us back from America. I think we've gained 2 subscribers in that time. That's really, isn't it? We're just making so much ground. But no, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time, hopefully for either Miss Marvel or Thor Love and Thunder, depending on the top of my head. I don't know which one comes first. So, yeah, we will see you guys in a bit. Cheers.